The hushed corridors of Royal Lodge in Windsor recently bore witness to a profound shift, reverberating through the highest echelons of the British monarchy. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York for 4 decades, has reportedly reached a breaking point. Her social media profiles now reflect a stark new reality, ipping away all mentions of her ducal title, a move that followed her ex-husband Prince Andrew's own renunciation of royal appellations. This sudden transformation has reportedly plunged Ferguson into a state of deep distress, threatening her sense of self, her public standing, and the very cohesion of her family. Sources close to the unfolding drama paint a vivid picture of turmoil within Royal Lodge, the sprawling mansion she still shares with Prince Andrew. The news of their titles being relinquished, a decision reportedly pressed by King Charles, sent shockwaves through the household. Insiders describe Ferguson's complete unraveling upon learning of the decision, despite her fervent pleas to Andrew against it. The king's stance was unequivocal. The era of indulgence had concluded. What ensued was an emotionally charged family meeting, described as one of the most explosive in recent royal memory. On a Monday, Princess Beatrice arrived at Royal Lodge, her face noticeably pale, her hair pulled back in a hurried fashion, and her eyes reflecting a profound emptiness. The once grand York residence now echoed with the sounds of raised voices, sobs, and a palpable sense of disbelief as the family grappled with the crisis. Adding to Ferguson's mounting anxieties are reports suggesting King Charles's resolve to evict her from Royal Lodge, the royal family's deliberate omission of her Duchess title, instead referring to her simply as Sarah Ferguson, underscores this perceived snub. Ferguson, who once envisioned Royal Lodge as a prestigious brand, a vital income stream and an enduring symbol of her royal connection, now faces the dismantling of that identity. A friend recounted the chaotic scene where Andrew, caught off guard by his brother's insistence, had agreed to issue a statement renouncing his titles without consulting his daughters. Beatrice and Eugenie were reportedly stunned by the news. Eugenie, too overwhelmed to participate, reportedly chose to stay away from the family gathering entirely. An insider conveyed to the Daily Mail that the summit was far from a happy occasion, indicating a fracture within the family unit that was once perceived as strong. The public, too, has observed a visible strain. Beatrice was later photographed departing Royal Lodge in her black Range Rover, her demeanor visibly shaken. Just the day before, she had been seen at a playground with her 2 daughters, engaged in a phone conversation, appearing distressed. Reports suggest she confided in a friend that she could not bring herself to read the Sunday newspapers. Witnesses described her as utterly devastated by the fresh wave of allegations surrounding her father. While Sarah's own email scandal had already tarnished her reputation, new revelations concerning Prince Andrew's alleged conduct were reportedly exacerbating the situation. Prince Andrew continues to vehemently deny all allegations. The news cycle has been relentless. In the past week, emails from Andrew have surfaced, prompting further questions about his behavior and his continued residence in the 30-room Royal Lodge amidst the controversy. Queries have arisen regarding Andrew's financial arrangements, specifically why he is not paying rent and the source of a reported $8.5 million in 2005. The Mail is reporting that he did not receive a significant inheritance from the Queen Mother. Even the assets of his daughters are now under intense scrutiny. Royal officials are reportedly advocating for an ethics review of Beatrice and Eugenie's investments, aiming to ensure no connections can be traced back to their father's questionable business associates. This situation is undeniably humiliating for two women who have committed no wrongdoing but find themselves unable to escape the shadow of their parents' scandals. According to royal expert Ingrid Seward, relinquishing their titles might be the only viable path for Beatrice and Eugenie to safeguard their reputations. She suggested to the Daily Mail that such a move would grant them independence from their parents, prevent them from being unfairly associated with their parents' actions, and demonstrate their desire to forge their own paths in the world. However, such a decision would undoubtedly come with its own set of sacrifices. The sisters were raised in an environment of immense privilege, surrounded by luxury and the inherent entitlement of royal life. From their earliest years, they observed their parents transform their royal status into a lucrative enterprise, involving various deals, endorsements, and paid magazine features. Even as toddlers, their images were sold to the press for substantial sums. Over time, the girls directly experienced the financial advantages of their status, receiving expensive gifts, enjoying lavish trips, and being introduced to influential businessmen. Some of these connections, it has now become apparent, would later prove to be problematic. While both sisters have since built successful lives independently, the lingering specters of their parents' past and their indiscretions continue to cast a long shadow over their own choices. Beatrice, now a private equity analyst and CEO of her own firm, has cultivated extensive connections within the Gulf states. She has been photographed at prominent investment conferences in Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and Qatar, frequently attending private events alongside influential royals and business leaders. Her company, by EQ, reportedly saw its value significantly increase last year. Eugenie, an art gallery director, has also been a consistent presence in the non-profit business sector. She was also among the first women to secure a new contract for a well-known project in the Gulf states. She has also regularly appeared at cultural and philanthropic gatherings across the Middle East. The king's nieces, Beatrice and Eugenie, recently graced the cover of a magazine, where they were lauded as the royal family's secret weapons. While both sisters have undeniably benefited immensely from their royal lineage, with doors opening easily for princesses of the House of Windsor, royal officials are now expressing quiet apprehension that their global dealings could potentially become another liability for the monarchy. The palace, already reeling from past scandals, cannot afford another crisis. Meanwhile, Sarah Ferguson, once a proud mother and steadfast ex-wife, is reportedly witnessing the collapse of the life she meticulously constructed and appears to be struggling immensely. Her breakdown has been described by friends as complete. Between her recent battle with cancer, the loss of her charitable patronages, and now the profound humiliation of losing her royal title, she is reportedly emotionally shattered. Her sister Jane has traveled from Australia to offer support, and her closest friends report that she is barely eating, rarely venturing beyond Royal Lodge, and is constantly in tears. The loss of her Duchess of York title reportedly underscores the perception that the York brand is now utterly toxic within royal circles. There are indications that Charles will attempt to shield Beatrice and Eugenie, recognizing that they should not bear the burden of their parents' transgressions. She has been described as hysterical, consumed by panic and haunted by the prospect of losing everything. Those same friends suggest she feels a profound sense of betrayal by Andrew for agreeing to the title loss without her consent, by the charities that abandoned her following the email scandal, and by the Royal institution that has now definitively severed ties with her. Her daughters concurrently are striving to maintain stability in their own lives. As they navigate these challenging times and intense media scrutiny, the question remains whether they can truly hold their lives together amidst the surrounding chaos. Beatrice and Eugenie remain close, bound by what insiders refer to as their tripod bond. However, both are privately devastated by the relentless waves of disgrace engulfing their family name. Even their husbands have reportedly urged them to maintain a low profile and distance themselves from Royal Lodge, fearing that the fallout could jeopardize their own reputations. Behind the new chandelier rural ties of the palace, the king is reportedly unwavering in his decision. There will be no reversal of Andrew's situation. Once perceived as a quirky, affectionate royal unit, they are now viewed as a liability to the crown. On you read. As the dust settles from that emotional family summit, Sarah Ferguson finds herself in a precarious position, grieving her lost title, her diminished respect, and perhaps even the unity of her family. For years she embraced the moniker the Phoenix, a woman who always managed to rise again. However, this time the ashes reportedly feel significantly heavier. At 65, she faces what many consider her darkest hour. The royal world that once embraced her now appears to be turning away. Her daughter's futures are uncertain, and as her public life unravels, those who know her best fear she may finally succumb. This is reportedly not merely another scandal. It is the emotional collapse of a woman who once believed she could overcome anything. After nearly 40 years as the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson may be confronting the one challenge she cannot recover from: the end of her royal identity, the fragmentation of her family's unity, and her diminishing grasp on the life she once fought so fiercely to preserve. The polished oak doors of Royal Lodge seem to absorb the hushed whispers, yet the profound tremor of change resonated through every gilded frame. Sarah Ferguson, a fixture as the Duchess of York for 4 decades, reportedly found herself at a precipice. Her digital footprint now starkly omitted any reference to her ducal status, a direct consequence of Prince Andrew's own renunciation of royal appellations. This abrupt shift, a cruel twist of fate, reportedly plunged Ferguson into a maelstrom of despair, threatening her very essence, her public persona, and the fragile cohesion of her family unit. Within the expansive confines of Royal Lodge, a shared residence with Prince Andrew, a palpable sense of turmoil reportedly hung heavy in the air. The news of their relinquished titles, a directive reportedly issued by King Charles himself, sent shockwaves through the Grand Tate. Insiders painted a vivid picture of Ferguson's utter devastation upon receiving the news, her impassioned pleas to Andrew against the decision having fallen on deaf ears. The king's pronouncement was reportedly unambiguous. The era of royal leniency had drawn to a close. What followed was an emotionally charged family gathering, described by those privy to the details as one of the most explosive in recent royal memory. That Monday, Princess Beatrice arrived. Her complexion noticeably pale, her hair hastily pulled back, and her eyes betraying a profound emptiness. The once vibrant York residence now echoed with the jarring sounds of raised voices, muffled sobs, and a pervasive sense of disbelief as the family grappled with the unfolding crisis. Adding to Ferguson's escalating anxieties were reports suggesting King Charles's unwavering resolve to see her depart Royal Lodge. The deliberate omission of her Duchess title by the royal family, opting instead for the simple address of Sarah Ferguson reportedly underscored this perceived snub. Ferguson, who had once envisioned Royal Lodge as a prestigious brand, a vital source of income, and an enduring symbol of her royal connection, now faced the dismantling of that very identity. A close confidante recounted the chaotic scene where Andrew, reportedly blindsided by his brother's insistence, had agreed to issue a statement renouncing his titles without consulting his daughters. Beatrice and Eugenie were reportedly left stunned by the news. Eugenie, overwhelmed by the emotional weight of the situation, reportedly chose to absent herself entirely from the family gathering. An insider confided in the Daily Mail that the summit was anything but harmonious, hinting at a deep fracture within a family unit once perceived as remarkably strong. The public, too, observed the visible strain etched on their faces. Beatrice was later captured by photographers departing Royal Lodge in her black Range Rover, her demeanor undeniably shaken. Just the day prior, she had been seen at a playground with her two daughters, engaged in a phone conversation, appearing visibly distressed. Reports suggested she confided in a friend that she simply couldn't bring herself to read the Sunday newspapers. Witnesses described her as utterly devastated by the fresh wave of allegations swirling around her father. While Sarah's own email scandal had already cast a shadow over her reputation, new revelations concerning Prince Andrew's alleged conduct were reportedly exacerbating an already dire situation. Prince Andrew, for his part, continues to vehemently deny all allegations. The news cycle had become a relentless torrent. In the preceding week, emails purportedly from Andrew had surfaced, prompting further scrutiny into his behavior and his continued residence in the sprawling 30-room Royal Lodge amidst the swirling controversy. Question NS had arisen regarding Andrew's financial arrangements, specifically why he was not paying rent and the source of a reported $8.5 million in 2005. The Mail was reporting that he had not received a significant inheritance from the Queen Mother, deepening the mystery. Even the financial assets of his daughters were now under intense scrutiny. Royal officials were reportedly advocating for a comprehensive ethics review of Beatrice and Eugenie's investments, aiming to ensure no connections could be traced back to their father's questionable business associates. This situation was undeniably humiliating for two women who had committed no wrongdoing, but found themselves unable to escape the pervasive shadow of their parents' scandals. According to royal expert Ingrid Seward, the relinquishing of their titles might represent the only viable path for Beatrice and Eugenie to safeguard their reputations. She suggested to the Daily Mail that such a move would grant them a crucial degree of independence from the heir parents, prevent them from being unfairly associated with their parents' actions, and unequivocally demonstrate their desire to forge their own distinct paths in the world. However, such a momentous decision would undoubtedly come with its own significant set of sacrifices. The sisters were raised in an environment of immense privilege, surrounded by the trappings of luxury and the inherent entitlement that accompanies royal life. From their earliest years, they observed their parents transform their royal status into a lucrative enterprise, involving various deals, endorsements, and paid magazine features. Even as toddlers, their images were reportedly sold to the press, or substantial sums, a practice that continued to benefit them financially. Over time, the girls directly experienced the tangible financial advantages of their status, receiving expensive gifts, enjoying lavish trips to exotic locales, and being introduced to influential businessmen across the globe. Some of these connections, it has now become disturbingly apparent, would later prove to be problematic. While both sisters have since meticulously built successful lives independently, the lingering specters of their parents' past and their